Ponga conjured a swirling vortex of wind and light, sending it hurtling toward the villagers. The crowd gasped and stumbled back, but Mama Alima raised her hands, chanting ancient words to counter the spell. A barrier of shimmering light formed around the villagers, deflecting Ponga's attack. Kia watched in awe as her mother's magic clashed with Ponga's tricks. She felt a surge of pride and determination. She knew she had to contribute to the fight, to show Ponga that she was no longer a frightened girl. Summoning all her courage, Kia stepped forward.
Panga, your tricks have no place here. Leave our village and never return.
Ponga sneered, but once upon a time, in a village at the edge of an enchanted forest, there lived a woman named Mama Alima who lived with her husband Tumi and her two daughters, Kia and Nia. Mama Alima was known for her wisdom and kindness, always guiding her daughters with care and caution. She often reminded them of the importance of listening to her advice and staying safe. The people in the village always moved together as a fear of old monster in the enchanted forest. One sunny morning, as Mama Alima prepared to join her friends on a trip to mine precious stones in the mountains, she called her daughters. Kia, Nia, come here, she shouted from the doorway.
Yes, Mama,
the girls answered, hurrying to her side. Mama Alima gave each of them a task. Kia, you will accompany your friends to the stream to fetch water. Nia, you are to gather firewood from the bushes nearby. Turning to Kia with a serious look, Mama Alima said, Kia, I know you like doing things your way, but remember this, never go to the stream alone. Do you understand? Kia, a stubborn girl with a mind of her own, nodded impatiently.
Yes, Mama,
she replied, though she felt the familiar twinge of annoyance at being constantly reminded to be careful. Mama Alima embraced her daughters and left for the mountains, leaving Kia and Nia to their tasks. Despite her mother's warning, Kia couldn't shake the feeling that she could handle things on her own. Little did she know, her decision to ignore her mother's advice would soon lead her on an unexpected and dangerous adventure. With Mama Alima off to the mountains, Kia and Nia set about their tasks. Nia, ever obedient and diligent, grabbed her basket and headed to the nearby bushes to gather firewood. Kia, on the other hand, decided to wait a bit before joining her friends at the stream. She believed that if she timed it right, she could fetch the water quickly and avoid the hassle of waiting in line. Her friends soon arrived, calling for her.
Kia, we are going to the stream. Come with us.
Kia waved them off.
You go ahead. I'll catch up with you later,
she replied, convinced that her plan would work perfectly. As time passed, Kia gathered her pot and finally set off towards the stream. She hummed a tune to herself, feeling confident and in control. The path to the stream was familiar, and she enjoyed the solitude, thinking of it as a moment of peace away from the hustle and bustle of village life. When she arrived at the stream, it was as beautiful and serene as always. The water sparkled under the sunlight, and the gentle sound of flowing water filled the air. Kia knelt by the stream and began to fill her pot. She felt proud of her decision to come alone, believing it to be a demonstration of her independence and capability. However, as she finished filling her pot, she felt defeated. Lifting her own pot to her head, she called out for help. Then she heard a voice calling out,
Little girl, let me help you lift this heavy pot onto your head.
Kia turned to see an old man standing nearby. He had a crafty smile and a twinkle in his eye.
Yes, you can help me,
Kia said, though she felt a slight unease. The old man, whose name was Ponga, was a monster in disgust of old man. Ponga approached her, ready to assist, Kia unaware that her decision to ask help from a stranger would soon lead her into unforeseen trouble. Kia, still feeling proud of her independence. As Ponga got closer, she noticed that Ponga's eyes gleamed with a strange light, but she brushed aside her feelings of unease. She was determined to prove that she could handle herself.
Here, let me help you.
Ponga said, reaching out to lift the heavy pot onto Kia's head. Kia grinned widely.
Thank you, old man. You are very kind,
she said with voice smooth. As soon as Ponga had helped her, Ponga suddenly jumped onto her back. Clinging tightly on his beast form, Kia stumbled under his unexpected weight, nearly dropping her own pot of water.
Get off my back.
Kia cried, struggling to shake him off. Ponga laughed, holding on even tighter.
No, I am quite comfortable here,
he replied.
Remember, you called me from the stream. No, you must carry me.
Kia was stunned and angry. She had helped Ponga out of kindness, and now he was taking advantage of her. She tried to shake him off again, but he clung to her with surprising strength. Feeling both frustrated and scared, Kia realized she had no choice but to carry him back to the village. She started walking, her steps heavy and labored under the weight of Ponga, who changes into different kind of monsters. The journey seemed endless, and every step made her regret not listening to her mother's warning. As she trudged along the path back to the village, she couldn't help but think of her mother's words. Mama Alima had always warned her about the dangers of trusting strangers and the importance of staying with her friends. Kia's stubbornness had led her into a trap, and now she had to find a way to free herself from this troublesome old man. With each step, Kia grew more determined. She was determined to get back to the village and find a way to get Ponga off her back. But she had no idea what lay ahead and how much her decision to disobey her mother would cost her. Kia's legs ached, and her back felt like it was about to break under Ponga's weight. As she neared her home, she spotted her father, Tumi, working in the yard. Seeing Kia struggling with Ponga on her back, Tumi's eyes widened in shock and anger.
Kia, who is this on your back?
Tumi demanded, rushing over to help his daughter.
This is Ponga.
Kia explained breathlessly.
He helped me at the stream and changed into a monster, but he won't get off my back.
Tumi's face darkened with rage.
No one torments my daughter and goes unpunished,
he shouted. He grabbed his machete, ready to defend his daughter.
Lie down, Kia. It will set you free.
Kia lay down on the ground, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and relief. She trusted her father to protect her, but the situation felt incredibly dangerous. Tumi raised his machete high, intending to scare Ponga away, but just as Tumi swung the machete down, Ponga leaped off Kia's back and the blade struck Kia instead. In that moment, a flash of magical energy enveloped Kia, and she transformed into a small green frog. Her croaks echoed her sorrow and confusion as she realized the terrible mistake that had been made. Tumi dropped his machete, horrified.
Oh, my daughter. What have I done?
He cried out, falling to his knees beside the small frog that was once Kia. Nia, who had just returned from gathering firewood, saw the scene and rushed over.
Father, what happened? Where is
Kia? She asked, her voice trembling with fear. Tumi looked up at her with tear-filled eyes.
This frog, it is Kia. I tried to save her, but I struck her instead.
The villagers began to gather, drawn by the commotion. They stared in shock at the frog and the distraught family. Kia's transformation was a result of the village's ancient magic, a consequence of her disobedience and her father's desperate attempt to protect her. Mama Alima would soon return to find her family in turmoil, and she would have to summon all her wisdom and magical knowledge to try to set things right. But for now, the village was left to mourn and wonder how such a tragedy could have befallen them. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows over the village, Mama Alima returned from the mountains. She was in high spirits, having found many precious stones, but her joy quickly turned to concern when she saw the somber faces of the villagers gathered around her home. What has happened? Mama Alima asked, rushing through the crowd. She saw Tumi kneeling on the ground, a small green frog at his side, and Nia crying beside them. Tumi looked up, his face pale with anguish.
Alima, I have made a terrible mistake,
He said, his voice breaking.
I tried to protect Kia, but in my anger, I struck her and she turned into this frog.
Mama Alima's heart sank. She knelt down beside the frog and gently picked it up, cradling it in her hands. "Oh, my poor Kia," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. The villagers watched in silence, knowing that Mama Alima was their only hope. In their village, mothers possessed ancient magical powers, reserved for the most desperate times. Mama Alima would have to summon all her strength and knowledge to save her daughter. With a heavy heart, Mama Alima began to prepare an ancient ritual. She gathered special herbs and ingredients from her home, setting up a small altar in the center of the village. The villagers watched in awe as she worked, knowing that this ritual was their only chance to bring Kia back. Mama Alima chanted ancient words, calling upon the spirits of the forest to hear her play. The air grew thick with magic, and a soft glow surrounded the altar. As the ritual reached its climax, Mama Alima placed the frog on the altar and continued her chant, "Spirits of the forest, hear my plea. Restore my daughter. Let her be free," she intoned, her voice filled with emotion. A magical light enveloped the frog, and in a burst of energy, Kia was transformed back into a girl. She lay on the altar, weak but alive, her eyes filled with gratitude and relief. Mama Alima embraced her daughter, her tears of joy mingling with the magic in the air. "Kia, my dear daughter, you are safe now," she said softly. Kia looked up at her mother, her voice trembling.
Thank you, Mama. I promise I will never disobey you again.
The villagers erupted in cheers, their hearts lifted by the miraculous transformation. Mama Alima had saved her daughter, and the village would remember this day as a testament to the power of love and the importance of listening to one's elders. Kia, weak but grateful, was carried back to her home by her mother. As they walked through the village, the villagers whispered among themselves, marveling at the magic they had witnessed and the lesson Kia's ordeal had taught them. Mama Alima laid Kia down on a soft bed and covered her with a warm blanket. "Rest now, my dear," she said, gently stroking Kia's hair. "You have been through so much." Kia nodded, her eyes heavy with exhaustion.
Mama, I am so sorry. I should have listened to you. If I had stayed with my friends, none of this would have happened.
Mama Alima smiled gently. "What's important now is that you have learned from this. You must always remember to listen and stay safe." As Kia drifted off to sleep, she thought about everything that had happened. She realized how her stubbornness and desire to do things her way had led to a chain of events that nearly cost her her life. She vowed never to let her pride and independence endanger her or her family again. Meanwhile, the village elders gathered to discuss the events of the day. They decided that the story of Kia and Ponga should be told to every child in the village as a cautionary tale. They wanted future generations to learn from Kia's experience and understand the importance of heeding their parents' advice. The next morning, Kia awoke to find her family by her side. Nia hugged her tightly, tears of relief streaming down her face.
I was so scared, Kia,
she said.
I'm so glad you're back.
Kia hugged her sister back.
I'm glad to be back too. I won't make that mistake again.
Over the following days, Kia's strength gradually returned. She helped her mother with chores and spent time with her friends, always remembering to listen to her mother and stay with her peers. Mama Alima was proud of Kia's newfound wisdom and maturity. She knew that her daughter had learned a valuable lesson, one that would guide her for the rest of her life. Life in the village returned to normal, but the story of Kia and Ponga continued to be told, serving as a warning and a lesson, and the memory of Kia's transformation remained fresh in everyone's minds. However, one evening as the sun set, casting long shadows over the village. A strange noise came from the edge of the forest. It was a faint, eerie laughter carried on the wind. The villagers shivered, remembering the mischievous old monster who had caused so much trouble. Kia was helping Mama Alima in the kitchen when she heard the laughter. Her heart skipped a beat.
Mama, do you hear that?
She asked, her voice trembling. Mama Alima listened carefully. It sounds like Ponga, she said, her eyes narrowing with determination. We must be careful. The villagers gathered in the center of the village, exchanging worried glances. Tumi, still haunted by the memory of what had happened to Kia, tightened his grip on his machete.
We must protect our families,
he declared.
We cannot let Panga cause more trouble.
That night, the village was on high alert. The men patrolled the village perimeter, while the women kept a close eye on their children. Kia stayed close to her mother, feeling a mix of fear and determination. She knew that Ponga's return meant more trouble, and she was ready to face whatever came next. As the night wore on, the eerie laughter grew louder. The villagers saw a flicker of light at the edge of the forest, where Ponga's mischievous figure appeared, illuminated by a strange glow. He looked even more sinister than before, his eyes gleaming with mischief and malice.
Come out, little girl.
Panga called, his voice echoing through the village.
I have come to play.
Kia's heart pounded in her chest. She felt a surge of anger and fear, but also a newfound resolve. She had faced Ponga before and had been saved by her mother's love and magic. This time, she was determined to confront him herself, with the support of her family and village. Mama Alima placed a reassuring hand on Kia's shoulder. We will face him together, she said. Remember, you are not alone. With her mother's words giving her strength, Kia stepped forward, ready to face the monster who had caused so much pain. The villagers stood behind her, united in their determination to protect their home and loved ones from Ponga's tricks. Kia took a deep breath and stepped forward, standing at the front of the crowd that had gathered to face Ponga. The eerie laughter continued to echo through the village, sending shivers down everyone's spines. But Kia felt a new strength within her, bolstered by her mother's support and the solidarity of the villagers. Ponga emerged from the shadows, his eyes gleaming with mischief. He clapped his hands, and a burst of sparks flew into the air.
Ah, the brave little girl returns,
he said, his voice dripping with mockery.
Did you enjoy our last encounter?
Kia clenched her fists, refusing to be intimidated.
You caused a lot of pain, Panga. But we will not let you harm anyone again.
Ponga laughed, a high, unsettling sound. Harm?
I only play games. Why don't you play with me again, Kia? This time, I have even more tricks up my sleeve.
Mama Alima stepped forward, her eyes blazing with anger. Your games are dangerous, Panga. You will not harm my daughter or anyone else in this village. Panga's smile faded, replaced by a look of cold anger.
You think you can stop me, Alima? You may have magic, but I have tricks of my own.
With a flick of his wrist, Ponga conjured a swirling vortex of wind and light, sending it hurtling toward the villagers. The crowd gasped and stumbled back, but Mama Alima raised her hands, chanting ancient words to counter the spell. A barrier of shimmering light formed around the villagers, deflecting Ponga's attack. Kia watched in awe as her mother's magic clashed with Ponga's tricks. She felt a surge of pride and determination. She knew she had to contribute to the fight, to show Ponga that she was no longer a frightened girl. Summoning all her courage, Kia stepped forward.
Panga, your tricks have no place here. Leave our village and never return.
Ponga sneered, but Kia's words seemed to weaken his resolve. He hesitated, his eyes flickering with uncertainty. Mama Alima continued her chants, strengthening the protective barrier around the village. Realizing he was outmatched, Ponga let out a frustrated howl.
This is not the end, little girl,
he shouted. With a final burst of sparks, he vanished into the night, leaving the village in stunned silence. The villagers erupted in cheers, their fear turning to relief and joy. Mama Alima hugged Kia tightly, her eyes filled with pride. You were brave, my daughter. You faced your fears and stood up to Panga. Kia smiled, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. She had learned the importance of listening, but she had also discovered her own strength and courage. The village was safe once more, and Kia knew that with her family and community by her side, she could face any challenge that came her way. With Ponga gone, the village erupted in celebration. The villagers gathered in the center of the village, setting up tables laden with food and decorations. The air was filled with laughter and music, a stark contrast to the tension and fear that had gripped them earlier. Mama Alima, Kia, and Nia worked together to prepare a special feast, cooking up delicious dishes to share with their friends and neighbors. Kia felt a sense of pride and happiness as she helped, knowing that she had played a part in protecting her village. As the sun set and the stars began to twinkle in the sky, the villagers lit lanterns and danced to the rhythm of drums and flutes. Kia joined in the dancing, her heart light and joyful. She twirled and spun, feeling the warmth and support of her community around her. Mama Alima watched her daughter with a smile, her heart swelling with pride. She knew that Kia had grown and matured through her ordeal, learning the value of listening and the strength of standing up for what was right. Tumi, still feeling a mix of guilt and relief, approached Mama Alima.
I am so grateful for your magic and wisdom,
he said.
Without you, we would have lost Kia.
Mama Alima nodded, placing a reassuring hand on Tumi's shoulder. We are a family, Tumi. We must protect each other and learn from our mistakes. Kia has shown great courage, and we must support her as she grows. As the celebration continued, Kia found herself surrounded by her friends. They laughed and shared stories, and Kia felt a deep sense of belonging. She realized that the love and support of her family and friends were the true sources of her strength. That night, as the village celebrated, Kia looked up at the stars and made a silent promise to herself. She would always listen to her mother, value her family's wisdom, and use her newfound courage to protect those she loved. The village, united by their shared experience, became even closer. The story of Kia and Ponga became a cherished tale, told around campfires and at gatherings, reminding everyone of the importance of listening, bravery, and the strength of community. The morning after the celebration, the village awoke to a new day filled with hope and promise. The air was fresh and the sun shone brightly, casting a warm glow over the village. Kia felt a renewed sense of purpose as she helped her family with their morning chores. Mama Alima called Kia and Nia to the center of the village. Today, we will plant a new tree to mark the beginning of a new chapter for our village, she announced. This tree will stand as a symbol of our strength, unity, and the lessons we have learned. The villagers gathered around as Mama Alima handed Kia a small sapling. Kia held it carefully, feeling the weight of its significance. She and Nia worked together to plant the tree in the center of the village. Gently covering its roots with soil and watering it with care, as the tree stood tall and proud, the villagers cheered and applauded. They knew that this tree would grow strong and steady, just like their village, nourished by the lessons they had learned and the bonds they had strengthened. Kia looked at the tree with a sense of pride and accomplishment. She had faced her fears, learned valuable lessons, and found her own strength. She knew that the tree would grow alongside her, a reminder of her journey and the support of her family and community. Mama Alima placed a hand on Kia's shoulder, her eyes filled with love and pride. You have grown so much, Kia, she said. You have shown courage. wisdom, and strength. I am so proud of you, Kia smiled, feeling a deep sense of gratitude.
Thank you, Mama. I will always listen to you and value your wisdom.
As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the tree grew taller and stronger, its branches reaching towards the sky. Kia continued to learn and grow, always remembering the lessons of her past and the support of her family. The village thrived, united by their shared experiences and the strength of their community. They faced challenges together, celebrated victories, and supported one another through difficult times. And so, the tale of Kia and Ponga became a cherished story, passed down from generation to generation. A reminder of the importance of listening, the strength of community, and the power of courage and love. The tree in the center of the village stood as a living testament to their journey, growing tall and strong, just like Kia and her village. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. Don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified every time we upload a new video. See you in the next one.